Max Verstappen and Toto Wolff's private jets were seen in Sardinia right after Christian Horner got fired from Red Bull. This news makes people think even more that the Dutch driver might join the Mercedes team starting in 2026. And they're having some really interesting talks in Italy. But can Verstappen really make this big move and end all the rumors? And if he does, who will he replace on the Mercedes team? Things have gotten so crazy that people aren't just guessing anymore. Verstappen and Wolff are actually talking about working together at Mercedes as soon as 2026. Many people didn't believe such a huge change would happen and that Max would leave Red Bull behind. But things aren't exactly like people think. Horner getting fired plays a big part in all this. And even though most people thought firing him was done to keep Verstappen happy at Red Bull, it might be the complete opposite. Toto Wolff has always said he really wants to sign Max Verstappen, and even when he said he's happy keeping Russell and Antonelli in 2026, who would say no to getting a four-time world champion like Max? After all, the timing has never been better than right now. Horner isn't part of the team anymore, and I don't think there's anyone left who can convince Max to stay with Red Bull. The whole team structure has been changed, and Verstappen will definitely have a hard time believing that things will get better at the Milton Keynes team. So if you're Wolff, what do you do next? Honestly, you have a great team with Russell and Antonelli, and it's not like you desperately need to make a change. Since 2022, Mercedes won 6 races and got 7 pole positions, and 4 wins and 6 poles were thanks to Russell. So, you could say they have one of the best drivers in the sport. If he gets the right car, could he become a world champion and bring Mercedes back to their winning days? I'd say yes, but let's be real here. Comparing Russell to Verstappen doesn't make sense at all. He's a 4-time world champion with 65 race wins, never makes mistakes when things get tough, and is super precise when the car needs him to be. So, the meeting in Sardinia is probably the turning point for Max moving to Mercedes. I don't really think both of them met just to chat about the new rules and whether the cars would be weird. Monsters like Horner said they would be. Some parts of the 2026 project were probably shown to Verstappen, in the same way Lawrence Stroll showed it to Adrian Newey, and I'd bet lots of money that Max loved what he saw. According to Nelson Piquet Jr., who is Verstappen's brother-in-law, there's a chance we might see Max driving a Mercedes next year because when talking about what happened at Silverstone, Nelson didn't want to blame Mercedes directly for the bad weekend they had. Talking more about this and maybe sharing more information than Verstappen would have wanted, Piquet Jr. said there are some weekends when things just don't go your way, right? There's nothing you can do. One of the Mercedes drivers, Antonelli, is a new driver who also got hit from behind by Isaac Hadj. Anyway, it just wasn't Mercedes' weekend. Who knows? Maybe next year Max will be there. They're talking, everyone knows that. What we need to see is whether they'll agree on a contract. But that's definitely possible. Everyone knows they're discussing it. This definitely isn't the only clue we have about Verstappen joining Mercedes. The biggest problem a few weeks ago was that the board of directors didn't really want to let Russell go just to sign Verstappen because it doesn't match their values. But the latest news from Mercedes CEO Ola Klenius changes everything. He gave the okay to Toto Wolff and everyone who needs to be part of this process to sign Verstappen, so I don't really think Wolff needs to do anything more to make this happen. But what does Mercedes have that Red Bull just can't offer from this point? At the end of the day, it's all about getting better and performing well. It's not like Max is unhappy with Red Bull in general, but he's not happy that they're not showing any signs of improving anytime soon. The technical team led by Wolff and Balbo didn't even come close to meeting the standards that Adrian Newey set. From a team that won 19 out of 23 races to one that's struggling to even start from the front row, a fall that happened in the same technical rule period. There's no good reason for how Red Bull messed up so badly. So firing Horner might have made sense if it weren't for Max. I don't think Red Bull would be a middle-of-the-pack team either, and I think Max realized that this is a team going downhill. So if he stays in racing for a few more years, then you can be sure he wouldn't want to celebrate 5th and 6th place finishes. But this is something Wolff needs to think about if he wants to commit to Verstappen. The 4-time world champion doesn't really want to stay in the sport for a long time. The way the sport is changing is going in a direction he doesn't really want to be part of. Street races, more and more race weekends, and rules that don't even make much sense. On top of that, he became a dad. So family is now a new priority for him. And this is truly a very, very difficult question for Toto Wolff. You have Russell, who joined your team in 2022 and spent 3 years at Williams before he finally got promoted to Mercedes. He is literally the driver you trained. You've helped him get to the level he's at now, and you're thinking about getting rid of him for a 4-time world champion who might not even race for very long. A lot is at risk here, but things are currently going Verstappen's way, and everyone would do anything to have him on their team. So, I'd guess Wolff has a great speech ready for Max. For the short term, it does make a lot of sense. Verstappen will definitely bring championships to Mercedes, even if their engines aren't the best by far in the new era. We've seen him win a championship in the 3rd fastest car with Red Bull last year, something that hasn't happened since Piquet's achievement back in 1983. But at the end of the day, Does this seem like Mercedes? They've carefully chosen their drivers and made sure they'll have good and long-lasting partnerships with them. And I don't think the long-lasting part applies to Verstappen still. The situation at Mercedes might even make Max believe that there is a future in this sport. And at age 27, he already has 4 championships. Imagine how many more he could win with. Mercedes, if the Silver Arrows are truly what they say they're going to be from 2026 onwards, is there a chance that Max and Russell will be teammates at Mercedes? It's a very small one, but there's definitely a possibility this could happen. Wolff might think that Antonelli is too young and not ready to be fighting for a championship at age 19, despite what he first said when he promoted him to Hamilton's seat. Let's not forget that this decision was pretty much forced on them. Wolff's original plan was to put Antonelli in a development team like Williams and follow the same path that Russell followed before he got promoted to Mercedes. But things didn't work out that way, and Toto had to put Antonelli right next to Russell. It's not like that was a bad decision, but from 2026 onwards, Mercedes will be getting one more customer team, Alpine. This means they will have one more seat if Toto wants to compare Russell and Verstappen in the same cars, and then decide who Antonelli will replace when the time comes. The future belongs to Kimi, there's no doubt about that, and Wolff wouldn't let him go for anything. But a small change in the story might be really good for everyone involved. Russell will have a chance to prove himself, while Verstappen will finally get to prove that his success with Red Bull can happen again with Mercedes. For a driver as good as him, it's always good when you win championships with different teams, and that hasn't happened in Max's career yet. With all this in mind, do you think Max Verstappen should leave Red Bull now and join a team that will respect the best years of his career and give him a car that can win races and championships? And if so, who do you think he'll replace it? Mercedes? Let us know in the comments below. And once you do that, make sure to check out the video that's appearing on your screen right now.